Hi guys and welcome. It's Mr. Mustafa here. In this video we are going to learn about the different types of differentiation rules in calculus. So let us look at the different types of rules we get. So just to run through these, we get the power rule, the chain rule, product rule, quotient rule. So as you can see here, we have like 10 different types of differentiation that we're going to do. So let us get straight into the power rule. So before we start, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also share it with your friends that are doing these types of differentiation at university level. Right, so let us get straight into the first type of rule, which is the power rule. So these types of rules are usually done at metric level. So let us just look at the general rule. So the general rule is, right, so if we have y is equal to ax to the power n, then dy dx, or sometimes we call it y prime, is equal to a times n x to the power n minus 1. So basic rule. So obviously, since it is the power rule, you need to know basic rules of exponents and surds. So let us just revise through exponents and surds quickly. So exponents and surds. Okay, so in usually exponents, what we need to look at is how to change from negative exponents to positive exponents. So in exponents, looking at example like 1 over x cubed, how to convert 1 over x cubed. So we need to write it as x to the power minus 3. So because we want to write everything in terms of power rule. Okay, so if in general, if I have 1 over x to the power n, that just becomes x to the power negative n. Right, and surds is just basics. Right, if you have the square root or nth root of x to the power m, it becomes x to the power m over n, inside over outside. So what happens if we have this in the denominator? Example, cube root of x squared, then obviously we need to convert the cube root of x squared as 1 over x to the power 2 over 3, right, inside over outside. And since we are differentiating, we need to write it in terms of power rule. So if you write this in terms of power rule, you will just get x to the power negative 2 over 3. So you can go directly from this step to that step. So remember, we are only writing variables in terms of powers. So let us look at a few problems. Example number 1. Right, so applying the power rule. So I have a function like y is equal to 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 over x plus 2. Then obviously, as we can see over here, this is not in terms of powers. So let us write this in terms of powers. Y is equal to 2x squared minus 3x plus 4x to the power minus 1. So this goes up, plus 2. Now we find dy dx. or we can write it as y prime x is equal to 4x minus 3. 2 times 2 is 4, subtract 1 from the power, minus 3. 4 times minus 1 is minus 4, x to the power minus 2, take away 1 from the power, plus, remember this is derivative of a constant is 0. Why is the derivative of a constant 0? Because we can write next to the 2, we can write x to the power 0, and you can see 0, x to the power 0 is 1, so 0 times 2 is just 0. Now if we write this as if we write dy dx, or we write it as, let me just use short form notation, let me just write y prime. I hope you understand what that means. Y prime means the derivative with respect to x. So if I say, I need to write it in positive exponents, so minus 3 minus 4 over x squared. Okay, that is your final answer. If the question says do not simplify, you can leave your answer in this form, which is fine. Number 2, let me make it a bit complicated. So I want to find the derivative with respect to x of this function. So this is just a different notation. Right, so let me write down the function, which is minus 3x cubed minus 4 over x squared plus 2 root x minus 2 over x to the power pi minus 20. So if I want to find the derivative with respect, this here means the derivative with respect to x of this function. So this is like your function y. We are not going to drop the dx as yet. We are still writing it in power form. So if we write this in power form, we're getting minus 3x cubed minus 4x to the power minus 2 plus 2 x to the power half. Inside is 1, outside is 2, x to the power half minus 2x to the power negative pi, because this is at the denominator, minus 20. Now we are ready to differentiate, so we can drop the dx, which is minus 9x squared. 3 times minus 3 is minus 9, x squared, minus 4 times minus 2 is plus 8, x to the power minus 3, take away 1, plus 2 times half is 1, x to the power negative half, half minus 1, which is minus half, minus 2 times minus pi is plus 2 pi, x to the power negative pi minus 1, and derivative of minus 20 is just plus 0. So my final answer, minus 9x squared, if I write it in positive exponent, 8 over x cubed, this here can go in the denominator, plus 1 over x to the power half. We can write this as square root of x as well, but since we want positive exponent, let's just write it as x to the power half, plus 2 pi divided by, see these are negative exponents, let's make it positive, x to the power pi plus 1, because we shifted this to the denominator as well as that, and that should be your final answer. Let us look at more problems with power rule. Number 3, I have f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 8 all squared. Right, so if I want to apply the power rule here, we can just open this up. So we're going to say f of x is equal to 4x to the power 4. We are squaring a binomial, so you square the first term, you square the last term, you get plus 64, and the product of these two times 2. So the product of these two is minus 16 times 2, which is minus 32 x squared. Now if we find the derivative, if we find f prime x, we are getting 16x cubed minus 32 times 2 is 64x plus a 0. So that is your final answer. Number 4. What happens if you want to differentiate things like this? We have the function y is equal to x cubed minus 1 over x minus 1. So this is a case where factorization is necessary, and we're going to cancel out the x minus 1 with the x minus 1 on top. So let us simplify and write it in power form. So we can say this is x minus 1, sum and difference of two cubes. So cube root of x cubed is x, the cube root of minus 1 is minus 1. You square the first term, you get x squared. You square the last term, you get plus 1. And for the middle term over here, we take the product of these two, which is minus x with an opposite sign. So you get plus x, and we write the result here, plus x. So the product of the first two terms with an opposite sign goes there, all over, we can see all over x minus 1. We can see the x minus 1 and the x minus 1 cancelling out, and then we can write dy dx is equal to, you can write dy dx, or my favorite, just write y prime for short. Y prime is equal to derivative of x squared plus x minus 1. So this is basically x squared plus x minus 1, plus 1. So if I find the derivative of this, we are just getting 2x plus 1. I hope you understand these 4 examples, guys. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.